DC here. Hi guys. Well, officially I'm at work. Yes, I've just left a conference and I went with the car today. I'm driving home, and I stopped on the way at one of the stops here. This is just before part of the country called the Valais. It's the Chablais here, and just showing you a little bit what it all looks like. It's really beautiful, and I haven't made my stop here for nothing in a way. Just a minute, just here. I won't be going the other side, but there's a kind of a tunnel over there to cross under the highway to go and see the view of the mountains over there. So over there there's some of the Alps. Yeah, so like I was saying, I didn't make this stop completely for nothing. Some of you might know from Facebook that Mrs. DC went into the hospital for a relatively minor intervention, but something that had to be done. And you probably remember I had mentioned also on Facebook that her father was in bad shape. He kind of stabilized, and so we decided, okay, she's got to have this intervention anyway, and it was a good time of the year to do it, and she'd have sick leave and so on. Well, things turned out that we'd spoken even the day before to her brother, and he said, well, her father was overall okay. Bit of a up and down at times, but he never mentioned, that things were going to turn maybe really for the worse and very quickly, which is what happened. The morning when I was driving her, actually going to drive her to the hospital for the intervention, and she's still there, by the way, but I got an email. I saw it on my cell phone from one of my brother-in-laws saying that his kidneys, my father-in-law's kidneys, had stopped functioning, and yeah, he was on morphine and oxygen now to breathe, and that he was literally in his last hours. Now, were the hours going to be days or what? That one could only say depending on how he held out, but since his heart and the rest was already taxed, he didn't last the whole day. So I told Mrs. DC in the evening, because I didn't want, her to go for that operation and knowing that her dad was really on his last hours. And in the afternoon, I got a phone call. Well, actually, it wasn't the afternoon, it was early evening. After visiting hours in the hospital were closed, that her dad had passed away. Well, I did manage to call her, because since I'd been with her before, I knew how she was, and I'd already told her by then about the situation. So I was able to tell her, but it's not the way I would have wanted, to lose a parent in that way. What did I say I was in this part of the country? Well, my father-in-law, when he would come to Switzerland, he loved to come in this part of the country. We used to, not far somewhere over there in those mountains, we would rent a cottage, kind of a small vacation apartment, and we would spend a lot of time together when the children were small. It was really, really nice, and it was good times together. My father-in-law was a kind and generous man. He was a shy person. You probably noticed that Mrs. DC is a bit shy. I think she takes that from her father. Oops, I will be back in a second. Phone. Okay, I'm back. Sorry about that. That was a quick business phone call. Yeah, so where was I? Yeah, well, I was talking about the mountains and my father-in-law. So yes, I was talking about him being in a way a shy person. And the thing is when he was here with us, he was like away. He was transplanted, or you could say removed from his normal environment. And he became, in a way, I would almost say, someone else. He became very open. He liked to laugh. And there was a rapport between him and Mrs. DC, which was very tender, and it had gone along for years. I mean, I think I wouldn't, you don't want to say when somebody just passed away that she was his favorite, because I wouldn't go that way. But there was something special between them, which came out when they were here, because that way they were one-on-one. Mrs. DC comes from a big family. There are 7 children, 6 remaining. And the fact is that, being alone with one child or one member of the family one-on-one was not such an easy thing. So that was something I think that was always very special about these trips here. Yeah. For us, it's the first from a parent, that's departing. And it's quite a challenge in a way, because of course we are also here in Switzerland. Now we've got to organize quickly somehow a trip over. He'll be incinerated, and they'll make a ceremony once that Mrs. DC is able to travel, which should be in a couple weeks, I guess. So that's coming up. I'll just show you around once again. So yeah, a little bit of the update. My next video after this one will be hopefully a slightly more funny one. I want to be very frank, I want to change my mind as well. I mean, this is things that are not pleasant, but that is the way that life is. And I mean, it's not like that we can choose ourselves what is happening, I mean, it's not easy. It's not easy, but it's part of life. Well, okay, so on those slightly somber terms, DC will be signing off. Take care, hug the ones you love. Bye-bye.